The love story is of that famous scientist who is called the father of Indian space science. This person had laid the foundation of ISRO, which is today one of the 5 largest space organizations in the world. His life started revolving around a love triangle, and it continued like this not only for 1 or 2 years, but for almost 20 years. If their marriage was the result of a stormy love story, then the second love story was of love born at a mature age. This scientist is Vikram Sarabhai, rich with beautiful and attractive personality, tall, fair, and full of energy and intelligence. There is hardly anyone who meets him even for 2 minutes and does not become his admirer. Vikram belonged to the Sarabhai family, which was one of the top 10 industrialist families of the country, who played a special role in laying the foundation of industrial revolution in the country. The family, which had cordial relations with freedom fighters like Gandhi and Nehru. Vikram had gone to study at Oxford. He was a genius in physics and mathematics. He became interested in space science while studying at Oxford. This was the same period when America and Russia were doing many experiments regarding space. The whole world was watching these experiments with great interest. When Vikram returned to his country, he had a dream that he would go to the country and do something in space science. He met the then Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru. ISRO was launched a few days later. He must have been in his teens then. Had gone from Ahmedabad to Madras, now Chennai, and was going from there to Uti. Stayed for some time in the house of Swaminathan family in Madras. Subbarama Swaminathan was a well-known barrister of Madras. His wife was a freedom fighter. Lakshmi Sehgal, a daughter of this family, became in charge of the women's wing in the Indian National Army and stood shoulder to shoulder with Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose in the armed struggle for independence. It was here that he met Mrinalini for the first time, who was 1 year older than him, attractive and with beautiful eyes like a deer. When in this very meeting he offered to get a photo clicked with Mrinalini, it was somewhat strange. Mrinalini was interested in dance. After a few days, she also went to Delphros School in Switzerland for its training. The talk of that meeting has come and gone. Both of them met again in the 40s. This time both of them noticed each other in their own way. They met again in Bengaluru. Then Vikram was appointed to teach at the National Institute of Science there. Then for the fundraising of the institute, he invited the group of famous Bharatanatyam guru Ram Gopal there. Mrinalini was also in this group. She was gradually gaining recognition as a skilled Bharatanatyam dancer. When she presented her dance drama, Vikram was fascinated by her. After this, Vikram started attracting her. Mrinalini had learned dance from Guru Dev Rabindranath Tagore and Shani Niketan, then took special training in dance from Bangalore. She herself was doing new experiments in dance in her own way. Vikram was often a spectator of her classical dance. After every show, he kept getting pulled towards them. Ultimately, both of them realized that they would not be able to live without each other. They got married in 1942. However, when their marriage took place, Vikram's family members were not even aware of it. Khushwant Singh wrote about Mrinalini in his column. She often used to come to London to perform classical dance shows with her group Darpan. Then the Indian High Commission gave him a grand welcome. Although there was not much crowd in his show, but the English media used to praise him a lot. In those days, she was called the dancing icon of India and Britain and Europe. After marriage, Mrinalini had 2 children, son Karthikeya and daughter Malika. Even after becoming a mother, her dancing continued. She kept going on long foreign tours. After a few years of marriage, Mrinalini suddenly came to know that her friend Kamla Chaudhary from Shanti Niketan had become a widow. She met Kamla, told him to come to Ahmedabad. He would be enthralled there. Kamla's family was from Haryana, many of whose members were in administrative services during the British Raj. Kamla herself was married to an ICS officer. He was posted in Lahore. He was the biggest officer of the city. Suddenly, on the night of Diwali, when the city was lost in the noise of fireworks, someone killed him unnecessarily with a pistol. Kamla was a very beautiful and attractive woman. Kashwant Singh writes, his one smile was enough to win someone's heart. However, after the death of her husband, there was a sadness on her face. When Kamala came to Ahmedabad, she stayed with the Sarabhai family. Mrinalini insisted him to join Sarabhai educational institutions. In those days, Vikram was busy opening the country's first textile research institute. On the request of Mrinalini, he interviewed Kamla. This was such an interview in which he became influenced by Kamala. Kamla was immediately given an important position in the Textile Research Institute. She started living in a separate big house. Vikram used to meet Kamla almost daily in the institute. Mrinalini used to go on long foreign tours with the dance group. This situation brought Kamala and Vikram closer. Kamala became his companion. This relationship continued for 20 years until Vikram's death. She was the aunt of renowned writer and psychoanalyst Sudhir Kakar. Sudhir has written in detail on this relationship in his book, A Book of Memory, released in 2011. He wrote that the triangle of relationships between Vikram, Mrinalini, wrote her autobiography, she included all the intimate and emotional memories about her husband and remembered him as a better, full of energy, genius person who did many things simultaneously. Also carried forward the family business in many ways. Established ISRO along with educational institutions and institutions. She wrote in her book, I Still Love Vikram. How did you like Sarabhai's love story? Like and subscribe. Thanks. See you in the next video.